Hey everyone, this is Candace. Welcome back to day 28 of my 100-day health challenge. Today is my 4-week check-in, and I am excited to share a little bit about just how the week went and kind of what I'm looking forward to this coming week. So I've been on fall break and I've been out visiting my parents in another state. And so it's been an interesting week of putting kind of travel tips and tricks to staying healthy into practice. So I've been traveling for the first time in a while on a further trip. And so it's been kind of interesting to practice how am I going to maintain healthy habits as I travel and sometimes don't have choices with where I eat or the times that I'm doing things and that kind of thing. But it's been a pretty good week overall. So it's interesting because I've technically gained 1 pound this week. Not bad at all, by the way, in the grand scheme of losing almost 20 pounds and only gaining 1 back during that time. That's totally good. But what's interesting to me is I've actually fluctuated again this week. So my trend so far, I lost a bunch the first week. I fluctuated the second week. I lost quite a bit the third week, and then I'm fluctuating the fourth week. So my hope is then I'll trend down again. I'll drop another bunch this fifth week. And then but I'm kind of seeing that stepping trend where it's like down, squiggle, down, squiggle, down, squiggle. And that's okay. That's actually a good sort of normal pattern to have. What it usually indicates is that when you first introduce a big change, you're going to drop quite a bit at first. I mean, for me, I would say it also depends on how much weight you have to lose. So for example, I have a lot of weight to lose, so I'm going to drop a lot faster in the beginning than some people. But I think it's a good shift to have of like, I drop quite a bit when I first introduce some pretty drastic changes, and then it's going to fluctuate a little bit until it levels out because it's seeing whether you have a consistent habit. Is this going to be a sustainable thing? Is this going to be a good change? And then I might need to change something else. And that's okay, because this is, again, remember, it's a journey where we're adding a little bit at a time with the intention of long-term health change. So making a change, sustaining that change, which is going to fluctuate some, adding another change, sustaining that change. All right. And so that's been interesting. That's what I've been seeing this past week is this fluctuation. And it also doesn't help that I've been traveling, because even though I've been doing a good job of maintaining habits while traveling, there's a lot of things that have gone with it that have not been so great. I also was sick during week 3. So recovery this past week has also made that a challenge because my sleep has still been way off. I hardly slept at all Friday night, hardly slept at all last night. In fact, I ended up having to get up and read some. I ended up even watching a show, which was not the best because when you're actually screens can trick your mind into thinking it's daylight. So you definitely that's why I usually end screen time 2 to 3 hours before bed, if at all possible, because that light can actually trick your brain into thinking it's still daylight, and waking you up or keeping you awake. I've read some different articles and studies about that. And so I think it's very important to not do electronics, but sometimes if music doesn't help me, if reading from just a paperback book doesn't help me, if journaling doesn't help, sometimes I just have to resort to watching a little something that I can just kind of tune out, but listen to and just distract myself. But again, I've not had the best sleep the last couple nights. It's so part of that is probably a combination. My sleep got way off when I was sick. I've been traveling, which really throws off sleep usually, even though I've been trying to do well at maintaining that. I haven't necessarily had jet lag. I've just had, I think, the leftover combination of things. And then I'm still just steadily improving my sleep. But then combine that all together. Plus, there was a weather change last night. And anytime the air pressure changes, I tend to get trigger headaches, migraines. And so that was another thing was last night, there was a pressure change and a shift in the weather system. And I oftentimes will get a migraine with that or have to fight one off. And so that's sure enough, that did not help either, because then I was up with that. So I have to admit that I'm not actually surprised I gained a pound. I actually had lost at the beginning of the week and then gained it back, probably a combination of travel. But I am proud of myself that I only gained back a single pound while traveling, because there's actually, in the past, I've been more likely to gain anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds when I go on a trip, whether that's because of just not healthy habits while traveling, or if I go to visit family and friends and they want to take you out to eat, or they make food that's heavier than you're able to do, and which my parents have been awesome in helping me find good things to eat. And that's not been like, I've not been stingy with myself. I've not been holding myself back completely, but I've been trying to make healthier choices while here. So the fact that I've only gained a pound, and I mean, I could gain a little bit still this coming week, but that the point is I've still have lost nearly 20 pounds in these 4 weeks. So, about 18.6 officially. And, so even if I gain that pound back, I've still lost 17.6 pounds since the beginning of this challenge. And I think that's an amazing, amazing number. So it's again, that sustainable, slow, steady changes to making lifelong habits. So for example, we've eaten out a couple times while I've been here, and I've just tried to pick the healthiest choices I could. Now tonight I did have a steak and some shrimp, but I also got a salad and some greens, some seasonal vegetables, green beans as my side. And so, the steak was heavier, the beef was heavier, but I didn't, overdo it. I did because I was feeling a little bleh this morning. I did have rice, which sits heavier on the carb side of things, but it still is not the worst I could have done. So I think it's those in the moments, trying to do the best you can to have a sustainable health change, and treat each meal as a new opportunity for health. Don't get caught in the, oh my gosh, I messed up this morning for breakfast and I ate a crazy, I don't know, for example. Just don't get so caught up in the mistakes. See it as an opportunity to improve in the future, and don't beat yourself up about it. So for example, let's say you one morning are out to eat with a friend and you have a cinnamon roll. Or maybe you're a teacher and you forgot breakfast, and the only breakfast that was in the teacher's lounge was a donut. And you were going to be sick if you didn't eat. Well, maybe you take your metabolic assist, your MetaPower assist, and you have half of a donut, or whatever it may be. Obviously, that wasn't the best choice in that moment. But instead of saying, okay, I'm going to make up for it at lunch, that puts you in a guilt mindset and a negative mindset. It puts you in this, oh my gosh, I got to make up for this. And how am I going to make up for it? And what if I don't make up for it? I'm going to have to do this and this and this all today to make up for what I did earlier. And yeah, you can look at it as okay, well, I had my allotment of carbs and sugar today, so I'm going to do less later. But the mentality you really want to have is, all right, I made a mistake at breakfast, or maybe it wasn't the best choice. Lunch is a new opportunity to make healthy choices again. Don't look at it in a negative mindset, because that takes so much more of a toll on our mental health and our brain when we feel guilty and ashamed. So don't let yourself do that. And so that's what I've been reminding myself of. And it's a work in progress, because I have a tendency to put so much pressure on myself, which we all do. I guarantee you are your harshest critic. I would be very surprised. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I would be very surprised if there's a person in your life that's more critical of you than you are of yourself. That's the truth. And so I think it's very important in weight loss to maintain a positive mentality of every moment is an opportunity for new and healthy choices. Not every moment is a chance to make up for past mistakes. Do we learn from our mistakes? Oh yeah, you better believe it. You wouldn't be able to have success without failure, right? To just do something is to just do something. To succeed means there was a possibility that you wouldn't succeed. To have a happy ending in like a story, for example, there was a moment where it was in question whether that would happen or not. So to have success, to learn from your mistakes is great, but don't get caught up in this, oh my gosh, I did so bad. I can't believe I did that. That was terrible, miserable. I'm a terrible person. Because it shifts, right? Your mindset evolves that thought. It goes from, oh my gosh, I made a mistake that I need to fix, to, oh my gosh, I'm the worst person in the world over one thing that wasn't even that bad. So I would encourage you to maintain the positive mentality of every meal, every moment is an opportunity to choose health, not make up for the past. So that's a little bit on the mindset, I guess. just as I've been thinking about it. But so what I've been trying to do is just remind myself 1 pound gained back on a trip in different environment while still recovering from the effects of being sick and being just exhausted and drained, compared to 17.6 other pounds of weight loss. Yeah, the scale's there. I'm going to focus here. This is what I did. This was the success. And have I had a little bit of a weird week? Yeah. But does that matter? No, because I've also been making healthy choices in the moments as much as possible. So anyways, that was a quick kind of update on that. I haven't even tried to track carbs and protein today. I've been just off a little on things and probably have a little bit of fluctuation. And, I didn't take both my Advantage powders today. I did take supplements, but I am definitely off on some things today. But I have done the best I can to maintain what I need to. I had a healthier dinner than, say, breakfast. And I see each moment, I'm going to choose to see each moment as an opportunity to make a new healthy choice for myself. So, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I am very excited about the weight loss. I did more movement. I made my movement goal this week. So I had 3 days of intentional movement. Actually, I probably had more than that, but technically, because I was recovering from being sick, I was so drained and exhausted. But I count Wednesday into Thursday because that was a travel day, and I did a lot of walking, a lot of walking around the airport, and definitely over 30 minutes, if not closer to 45 or 50 or more minutes in that day of walking around different airports. I was in 3 different airports Wednesday night into Thursday morning, did a lot of walking within that and a lot of movement. And then on Friday, I did my dance stuff. So I had a 30-minute, actually it was closer to 40 minutes because I did some walking around 10 minutes on Friday. And then I did a 30-minute dance method. Also it was fun. So a unique method of movement that I have run into this weekend. So my parents have my grandparents' pump organ. So if you've never seen a pump organ, it's like a piano. It looks like a piano. It's about the size of one. It's actually a little smaller, this one. And it's got pumps, right? So it's an old organ. And in order to make the sound, you have to pump to feed air into the pipes and get it to make a sound. If you just play it, it's not going to sound at all. So you have to pump your feet constantly while you're playing. And you just up and down, it's like bellows. You have to go up and down, and make sure you're feeding air into the rest of the pipe organ, or into the pipes of the organ. And so it's a pump organ. And oh my goodness, y'all. It's been so long since I played this thing. So it used to be in my grandparents' house, and now it's in my parents' house. Ever since my grandma, so my grandma and grandpa, when they got sick, my mama and my granddaddy, they moved in with my aunt and uncle. And when they ended up finally selling the house up there, all the different things that were in the house a lot of them ended up in different families to remember them by. And the pump organ is more for my sister because she's one of the best piano players I know. So to keep it here though, because it's so hard to transport things like that across country. And it's here in my parents' house. And so when anybody visits, it's fun to play it again, like when we were kids. But boy, it burns when you have to work those muscles you haven't worked before. It works an entirely different set of muscles. Not only do you have to hold your legs together because the pumps are right next to each other where your feet are supposed to go, but then you're literally, it's not just like riding a bike, because you're actually having to push air into this instrument, and it burns. It is a workout. I think I worked muscles I haven't touched in years, but it was worth it. And maybe I'll take a video tomorrow if I get a chance of what it's like to play the pump organ. Maybe some of you are familiar with it, but it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's old, it's out of tune. It got some water damage. It's a little bit, it doesn't always make the best sound, but it still works. And so it's a beautiful instrument, and I'd love to see it restored. Maybe, I don't know, it's sure to be thousands and thousands of dollars. And I don't even know if there's people anymore who know how to do that sort of thing, but for now, but so that was my exercise on Friday. I did a dance routine, and man, I switched between so many different kinds of music. I had metal folk. I had a metal bagpipe song. I had a like Chinese, I'm blanking on the instrument. It's like a zither, but it's a different one. But it's a sitar? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I just blanked on the instrument. Anyways, it was a metal one of the Chinese folk instrument. And then I had I had like an Appalachian folk metal song on, and then I had like electro swing, and then I had like a soundtrack battle music on, and so I was doing these workouts to all these different types of music. I love different genres of music and types of music. But so that was my Friday, along with the pump organ, walking around some, and then dance routine. I got a lot of exercise in on Friday. And then yesterday, despite the lack of sleep Friday into Saturday, I did end up doing some intentional dance movement yesterday as well. So I got those days in of exercise routine. So again, I'm looking forward to this week to maintaining, because I don't want to shift it too much yet. So my goal, again, is 2 to 3 days. And if I get more than that, if I can work out all 5 days, then fantastic. But I don't want to set my goal here right away and then risk not hitting it and feeling kind of like a failure and ashamed, because like I know that it's okay to make mistakes and not always be successful, but sometimes in our brains it's harder to see that objectively. We're so hard on ourselves. So my goal is ideally to do at least 3 days of exercise, 30 minutes on each of those days. And then my kind of lesser acceptable goal would be 2 days a week. And then at minimum, I've got to be doing exercise intentionally 1 day a week, but my goal would be 3. And so really, I guess my ideal would be 5. I would love to get to work out all 5 days, but my realistic goal is 2 to 3 days during the week, and really a minimum of 2. So in each of those days, getting 30 minutes, whether that's 30 minutes total or 15 and 15 or like 20 and 10 or 10, 10, 10, however it works, getting intentional heart rate building, exercising, especially putting in some resistance and muscle working exercises, so that I'm making sure I'm building muscle as I'm losing weight, and maintaining that routine. So that's, again, my goal. I made it this past week, so I'm looking forward to doing it again this week. And then if I maintain that for another week or two, I will up that goal again and shift it higher. But remember, we want slow, steady, sustainable changes. So that's what I intend to do. I am tracking the carbs and the proteins more intentionally going forward this week. Not to obsess over them, but to make sure I'm getting enough protein to help with all the different systems and muscles. Proteins are key to the building blocks of our bodies. And then minimizing the carbs so that I'm actually burning fat. And so anyways, those are some of my bigger goals. And I did pretty well maintaining those this past week, even despite, or actually in fact with travel, I've been able to make good choices there too. So we'll see what my weight is going forward. I'm hoping though this week, now that I've kind of gone through that fluctuating week again, that making these changes again will create another big drop. So maybe another 2 to 3 pounds at least, maybe more, we'll see, my goal is again 1 to 2 pounds, 3 ideally per week. So 1 to 3 pounds a week. I fluctuated this past week. I still lost some weight early in the week and then gained it back. But hey, you know what? It's all right. So I didn't hit that goal so much, but I'm hoping that this week I'll have another drop. So anyways, that's kind of how things have gone and how I'm hoping things will go this week. So that is my 4-week check-in. Some just thoughts on like mental state and positivity and slow, steady changes that will be long-term sustainable. And yeah, they may take some time. They may be slower. You may feel like, why am I having to wait so much? But we want to And it doesn't mean you can't challenge yourself, but just remember, it's important to make slow, steady changes so that this lasts a lifetime. You know, it took us years to get into bad habits, or sometimes things we couldn't even control. You know, illness, whatever, stress, situations, trauma, those kinds of things. These are things that have caused damage and gaining weight and different health challenges that we could sometimes control and sometimes had no choice over. You can't expect that overnight it's just going to flip a switch and everything's going to change. Slow, steady changes that help rebuild your mindset into a positive, self-loving image of yourself, and realizing that you're worthy of those changes, right? You're a beautiful creation, child of God. And so it's good to remember that, and to, as you're making those changes, realize that slow and steady is going to be your best long-term solution to flipping what's happened in the years. So flipping and taking care of the scars that are on your body and helping yourself heal from those open wounds. And whether those be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, social, whatever they may be, slow and steady changes to give yourself grace, to challenge yourself, but to move forward in sustainable ways, that's going to be the best bet. So, all right. Well, I'm going to let you all go. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.